Good morning, and thank you for joining me for another session of Pajama Yoga. I'll be honest and share that I'm not feeling so hot today. I hurt my back earlier this week, and I'm not quite sure how this practice is going to go, and yet I know I need to move, and so I'm prepping myself with a blanket. Going to roll it into a little hot dog size shape, as I'm pretty certain a bolster is going to be too big. However, if you have a bolster and want to use that to support your practice today, by all means do so. I know in my body I need to move across my low back and to support my hips and waist, and I'm relying on both my intuition and years of practice to support myself as I move today. So we're going to start our practice off in child's pose. Now take your time to come down into this posture so that you can land in whatever way works and serves you best. Prop with the hands, prop with a bolster, a block, a foam, or if your body allows you to settle and sink all the way down to the mat, then by all means, welcome that. And then just let yourself breathe. Allow the inhale to invite the opportunity to know sensation. And then the exhale to support your understanding of what happens next. This is the beauty of a routine and regular practice. It is that you really get to know yourself. You get to know what you need, what's going to support you, and of course, what won't. And then to make the necessary modifications and adaptations so that your yoga practice becomes very therapeutic in nature, as well as, of course, an instrument to support flexibility and strength and so on. So as you land, just breathe. Feel a nice fluid inhale through the nostrils, and then maybe even a soft sighing exhale through the mouth to help the nervous system and the body settle. With every breath that passes here, offer yourself a commitment to listen. To listen to whatever it is that the body needs, and then to create compassionate action to support the sensations and the needs that arise with each pose. Feel how after even just a few breaths or a few minutes here in your first posture, there's a shift, there's a change. I know in my body I could feel the tension just kind of melt a little bit. And maybe that's the same for you. And slowly as you're ready, allow your inhalation to bring you from a child's pose to a tabletop position where we'll just gently move the spine. On your inhalation, let the belly fall towards the floor, the face brightens, the collarbones broaden. And then slowly on an exhaling breath, press the floor away, round through the back. Again, let your full breath in, melt the heart forward, the face brightens, the belly falls to the floor. And then slowly on an exhaling breath, press the floor away, round through the back. One more nice full deep breath in. And a full easy breath out. Feel free to do one more cycle of cat and cow, or just stay here with me and breathe in, rounding through that back, and then breathe out. And go ahead and shift yourself through to your tabletop position. And then gently we're going to invite ourselves to come back down to the floor, this time in a side lying pose. So oftentimes I find when it comes to my low back, propping along the waist feels really nice. And so as you see here, I've taken that rolled up blanket and just placed it along the waistband and then allowed myself to just simply lie on my side with just a simple prop underneath my ear as to support just an alignment through the neck. Let your top hand rest on the hip, or feel free to let it land maybe somewhere behind you to help open through the shoulder, or it can just rest even on the mat or your prop in front of you. Now you can keep the knees just passively placed as I've had them here, or maybe the top knee might slide back behind the bottom leg just to create a little bit more space across the hips, across the pelvis, and of course across the side waist. Now, I know in my body, I did not need a lot of lift today. You may find that you want to take this into a more pronounced arch over a bigger blanket, pillow, or of course a bolster and or block. So support yourself in whatever way is going to meet you and the sensations that arise so that this feels like a nice bit of pressure point on the side waist, but also a nice support and stretch and release through the top side body. And then you just breathe. Let the breath fall in and let the breath fall away. Stay here for one more nice full breath. And then slowly as your exhalation takes place, let the top leg meet the bottom leg. And the top hand now finds the floor in front of you as you slowly rise. And then gently ease yourself from the one side all the way over to the second side. Now, this is the side that's bothersome for me, so if I look like I'm having a hard time, well, there's lots of sensations going on in my body. So from here, again, let yourself land. And then let that top hand and arm again come to rest wherever it works and serves you. Give yourself a few moments to land with the legs stacked, knees gently tucked as this side-lying pose comes into play. And again, the top arm, maybe it rests on the top thigh or slides to the space behind you or in front of you. And then if it serves you to start separating the legs, by all means, let the top leg start to move to the space behind the bottom leg. Now, I've opted to keep my knees bent as that's a less intense variation of this pose. Or you can straighten the legs, especially the top leg. The longer it is and the more it stretches to the space behind you, the deeper the release across the top of the hip and across the front side of the pelvis and belly. Modify and adopt a posture, a variation that feels just right for you. Remember, this is early morning practice. This is when your body is sleepy, oftentimes stiff from a night of slumber and minimal movement. And your morning practice is a very different practice from when the body has been moving all day and, filled with lots of activity, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So go easy on yourself as you meet yourself in this day. And take one more nice full breath here. And then again, slowly on your exhalation, let that top leg move to meet the bottom leg. Let that top hand find the floor in front of you as you slowly support yourself as you lift from your side back up to sitting. And then from here, as you come to sitting, shift your props off the mat out of the way as you then gently invite yourself down on your back. As you come to land on your back, keep the knees bent, feet hip distance apart. And then when you're ready, slowly introduce one knee in towards the chest. So this is kind of similar to what we did with our child's pose, only obviously the back body is more neutral here in that it's supported by the floor instead of rounded over your legs. Then feel here, as you breathe in, the belly might press into the thigh a little bit. And then as you breathe out, that thigh can squish onto the belly a little more. After a few breaths, slowly shift your hands to find the back side of the leg, and flexing the foot, invite that leg to slowly stretch towards the ceiling. Feel free here as that leg extends and straightens out to keep the foot in a flexed position or to move the ankle and foot around. For me, working to support the hamstring, I'm keeping a flexed foot so that this helps to release not just the hamstring, but across the glute and then release through my low back. And when you're ready, slowly return that knee to a bent position and then move to what we call a figure 4, or sometimes even thread the needle pose, but lying down on your back. And as you cross that right ankle on top of the left thigh, allow yourself to just pause. There's a myriad of variations here where you can pick the other knee up and draw the legs into the chest, but I'm going to opt for a twist, again, so I can target my side waist and around the side of my hip to support my back. So keeping the figure 4, I'm going to gently let the legs fall over towards the opposite side of the bent and crossed leg. And then with just a little bit of pressure from my left hand, I'm easing the right thigh in an external rotation and moving that leg away from my chest. Now you can also opt to draw that right leg down towards the left side of your body in the floor, but for me it feels much nicer this morning to ease the leg away to further enhance the space along the side waist up into the underarm and rib basket. You might stretch that opposite arm up and away on a little diagonal. Turn your head, turn your neck in whatever way it works to support any release that feels good for you. And then slowly with your next inhalation, release the arm and then ease yourself back through to neutral where both feet land on the mat. Take a nice full deep breath. And then with that next exhalation, slowly draw now the left leg into the chest. Again, watch how with every breath in, the belly presses into that thigh a little bit. And then you can almost support the exhalation by squeezing that thigh onto the belly just a little bit more. Stay for one more nice full breath here. And then let the breath fall out. And then as you're ready, slowly with a flexed foot, change the hands to the back side of the hamstring and invite that leg to unfold. Now I know and I can feel in my body here how this left side is much more resistant, and I have to be that much more cautious and supportive of my body and the messages, the signals, the language it's speaking, so that I don't further injure myself, but rather support myself in soothing these cranky muscles that I inadvertently hurt. Again, you can circle that top foot, you can keep the foot flexed, whatever works for you. Take one more breath in here. And then with that exhalation, slowly rebend that leg, gently crossing the ankle on top of that bent knee. Again, there's a million different variations of this thread the needle pose, and you're welcome to choose the one that suits you best. For me, it's the twisted variation. So as you're ready, slowly allow the legs to fall away from that cross-legged side. So in this case, my left leg is bent and the legs are falling to the right. As you can see, the sole of the foot will eventually land on the floor. And then I'm inviting the right hand onto the left thigh to gently encourage the thigh away. This helps to rotate, to articulate at the hip joint, the ball and socket joint, instead of pulling on the knee. So it's an important thing to consider here that we don't push at the knee joint, but rather push gently on the thigh itself. Again, if you like, you can take that opposite arm and stretch it up and away on a diagonal to help this stretch reach from the side waist all the way up into the armpit region. Allow yourself to breathe into the spaciousness that you've created. And to let every exhale help everything soften and settle and ultimately let go. And as you're ready again, slowly return, find your way back through to your center, uncrossing gently that left side, and then again landing the soles of the feet to the floor. And as you come to land here with the knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat, feel free to stay there, or perhaps drop both legs now into the belly, giving yourself a little loving hug, maybe a little gentle rock back and forth, side to side, or even offering a couple of circles in one direction and then the other. Allow a nice full deep breath to come in here. Gently hug the legs in a little bit more as you exhale. And then slowly let the soles of those feet come back down to the mat, landing them perhaps a little bit wider than hip distance apart, and the knees ever so gently falling in towards one another. Resting the hands maybe on the belly or perhaps down on the mat beside you. Again, come back to the breath. Come back to the sensations that even while lying in stillness on your back, the breath provides. Notice if you're finding any difference from when we started our practice just a few minutes ago to now. And there may not be much shift or change, but there might also be a whole new world to hold space for. Give yourself permission to stay here as long as you need. There's never any rush or race to finish your practice. And be mindful if that's your tendency. As we take time to rest after our practice, this is where we can really hone our skills at listening. Our yoga postures are not meant to be something we perform. There's something that we do to support the capacity of our body, the demands of our body, whether that's something we demand from ourselves or, the roles that we wear demand our action. The more we can engage in consciously listening, consciously moving through life and through ourselves, the more fulfillment, joy, and health comes our way. And that's certainly what my practice has done for me over the years, and what I wish and hope it can do for you. So again, allow yourself to linger here for as long as you need. And when you feel ready to meet your day, slowly invite some movement through the fingers, through the toes, and then allow the body to roll from your back over to your preferred side. Then take a moment there. Notice the shift off your back and the orientation of this side-lying pose. And then as you're ready, slowly let that top hand find the floor in front of you as you gently, gently, gently rise from your side to your seat and taking a moment to just land. Feel free to bring the hands together in front of the heart, acknowledging the time you've taken to support yourself, your health, and your vitality today. If you enjoyed this class, please, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to do this work and support you. Om Shanti, 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 Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Namaste.